Hey, church family. Are you ever discouraged when you see people who don't follow Christ prosper while you always seem to be waiting? As we turn to Genesis 36 today, the author of Genesis paints a portrait of prosperity. The portrait that he paints is that of Esau. Esau was Isaac's firstborn son. He was a man who followed his stomach, he was a man who followed his flesh, but he was not a man who followed God. In chapter 36, we learn that even though he didn't follow God, Esau prospered. He married multiple wives and had multiple children. His family and possessions increased so much that he moved out of the promised land. The author of Genesis tells us about this in verses 6 through 8. We read, Then Esau took his wives, his sons, his daughters, and all the members of his household, his livestock, all his beasts, and all his property that he had acquired in the land of Canaan. He went into a land away from his brother Jacob, for their possessions were too great for them to dwell together. The land of their sojournings could not support them because of their livestock. So Esau settled in the hill country of Seir. Esau is Edom. The descendants of Esau would become known as the Edomites. As they settled in Seir, they conquered and ruled over the people there. And in verse 31, we learn that the leadership of the Edomites advanced more quickly than that of the descendants of Esau's brother Jacob, who would become Israel. We read, These are the kings who reigned in the land of Edom before any king reigned over the Israelites. Esau didn't follow God, yet he prospered. And then, if we peek into verse 1 of chapter 37, we read, Jacob, Esau's brother, lived in the land of his father's sojournings, in the land of Canaan. While Esau prospered, Jacob wandered and continued to wait for God to fulfill his promise. Dr. Alan Ross writes, In contrast to the expanding, powerful Esau, Jacob was dwelling in the land of the sojournings of his father. He had no kings, no full tribes, and no lands to govern. He, too, was a sojourner. The commentator Delitzsch notes poignantly that secular greatness in general grows up far more rapidly than spiritual greatness. Let me say that again. Secular greatness in general grows up far more rapidly than spiritual greatness. The promised spiritual blessings demand patience and faith and emphasizes that waiting while others prosper is a test of faithfulness and perseverance. God will give the promised blessings to Jacob's seed, but only after long refining and proving of the faith. If you're waiting on God today, don't lose heart. Remember, secular greatness in general grows up far more rapidly than spiritual greatness. Trust that God is who he says he is and that he will do all that he has promised to do. And then follow the advice of King David, a man after God's own heart, found in Psalm 37, verses 3 through 6. Trust in the Lord and do good. Dwell in the land and befriend faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will act. He will bring forth your righteousness as the light and your justice as the noonday. Enjoy your time with Jesus today.